Welcome back to Jetstream Journeys, where we dive deep into the skies and everything that keeps them safe. Today's topic might sound mysterious, maybe even chilling, but it's one of aviation's most vital systems. What exactly is a black box? And after a crash, how do investigators recover it? We're going to break down what it is, how it works, how it survives extreme crashes, and why it's actually not black at all. So buckle up, because we're diving into the heart of aviation safety tech. First things first, let's clear the biggest myth. Black boxes aren't black. They're bright orange with reflective tape to make them easier to spot in wreckage. The term black box actually comes from early electronics where systems were enclosed in non-transparent casing. In aviation, black box refers to two critical flight data recording devices. Flight data recorder, FDR, records dozens to hundreds of flight parameters: speed, altitude, heading, engine power, flight control positions, autopilot modes, etc. Cockpit voice recorder, CVR, captures all cockpit sounds, pilot conversations, alarms, engine noise, ATC communication. Together, these two devices give investigators the full picture of what happened before an accident. Let's get a bit technical now. Flight data is recorded through a mix of analog and digital systems. In modern aircraft, most of it comes via the aircraft's avionics through something called the Digital Flight Data Acquisition Unit, DFDAU. This unit funnels key flight information to the FDR at a frequency of about 8 times per second. Meanwhile, the CVR records continuously, usually in a 2-hour loop, overwriting older data unless an incident triggers a stop. All this data is stored in a Crash Survivable Memory Unit, CSMU, the actual core of the black box. This memory unit is protected by a stainless steel or titanium shell, layers of insulation to withstand extreme heat, shock-absorbing materials for impact survival. FDRs must survive impact forces of 3,400 Gs, temperatures of 1,100 degrees Celsius for 1 hour, deep sea pressure up to 20,000 feet. In other words, it's tougher than most military hardware. After an accident, locating the black box becomes a top priority. But how do they find it in a massive crash site, sometimes underwater or in rugged terrain? Each recorder is fitted with an underwater locator beacon, ULB, a small pinger that emits an ultrasonic pulse, around 5 kHz, once per second when it comes in contact with water. It can keep pinging for 30 days thanks to an internal battery. Investigators use specialized hydrophones and submersible drones to triangulate its position. If on land, visual inspection and proximity to cockpit or tail sections help, as black boxes are typically mounted near the rear of the aircraft, the part most likely to survive a crash. Once recovered, the memory is carefully extracted in a lab, often at facilities like the NTSB in the US or BEA in France, using forensic tools. Even if the unit is burned or dented, the data is often recoverable. Now comes the hard part: decoding the data. Analysts reconstruct the entire flight using CVR and FDR data synced to create a second-by-second timeline. This includes control inputs, system warnings, pilot responses, and even emotional cues from pilot voices. Flight simulation tools are used to recreate the crash scenario with exact flight parameters. Sometimes you'll hear about partial data recovery, which means the memory module was damaged or stopped recording moments before impact. Investigators use this info to identify human error or mechanical failure, recommend aircraft system redesigns, improve pilot training, update air traffic control protocols. Think of it as the aircraft's diary, one that never lies, never forgets, and speaks only when tragedy strikes. Modern aircraft are also moving toward real-time data streaming, essentially cloud-based black boxes so critical flight data can be transmitted mid-air to ground stations. This could be a game changer, especially in cases where black boxes are never found, like Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370. There's also talk of making black boxes ejectable with parachutes and GPS tracking, or integrating video recording to see cockpit displays during incidents. Technology is catching up fast, but black boxes, even in their current form, have already saved countless lives. So next time you hear about a black box in the news, remember, it's not just a piece of metal, it's one of the most vital tools in modern aviation safety. It tells the truth, even when no one else can. If you learned something new today, hit that like button, subscribe to Jetstream Journeys, and drop a comment. What aviation system should we explore next? Until then, fly safe. and stay curious.